Thank you everyone for subscribing to Infinitely Productions. If you have not done so, please click the bell and subscribe, and we hope you enjoy our content.
Still can't get used to it. Is anybody else listening? Yes, sir.
Ready? Yeah. Good. I saw you on YouTube a few videos, and you and Sammy the Bull, you had an argument. He says, "I'm going to break your clock." And you went up against him. This isn't directed at you. But people say to idolize. So I said, "God bless you, Sammy." The mafia people, not to be idolized, they're murderer and thugs. Okay, and let's face that. If anybody's to be idolized, it's the veterans. I'm a Vietnam vet. They're the people to be idolized. At 12 years old, I had a knife to my neck. I was almost murdered and killed in the Navy, so I know a little bit about that. My story is, you heard of I was born here in Atlantic City and raised in an Italian neighborhood called Pitney Village. It's called the Italian Village. And there used to be a mafia boss here called Nicky Scarfa, who was a little piece of shit. I'm sure you know him.
I know Nicky very well.
Yeah, he was a piece of shit. I had a friend as a teenager called Pepe Levy, and you mentioned his name, I think. Pepe Levy was a tailor. You know Crazy Phil Leonetti, okay? He had an argument with Pepe. He punched Pepe in the mouth, and he said, "I'm gonna go to the cops." Nicky heard about this. Now, he was my friend, Pepe. He befriended me and stuff like that. And I woke up one morning, my dad says, "They murdered your friend." I said, "What are you talking about?" Pepe says, "I'm going to the cops." Well, about 2 days later, Nicky says, "Pepe, don't worry about it." He said, "I'm not going to do nothing, Nicky. No, can you drive my friends to Downey Road, Pleasantville? Take them out for a ride." "Oh, sure." So Pepe's driving, and Phil Leonetti's in the back. And the other guy comes, "I got to take a piss to get out there." And then Phil Leonetti put 5 in his head.
I'm just wondering.
I never forget that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I did a story like that. But my thing is, I respect it for being a Christian and all that stuff in the mafia, but they're not to be idolized, because there were thugs and murderers like John Gotti and all these, your Fat Tony and all that. If you're going to be somebody to idolize, it's the veterans. But I respect you for being a Christian and turning your life around and stuff like that.
Well, let me respond to that. I don't think you should idolize anybody in this life. We don't idolize people. We respect them and we honor them. And certainly our veterans, I think, deserve more of an honor than most people, because you're ready to give your life to your country. And I think that's extremely noble. And I've spoken at Camp Pendleton and to a lot of families when some of the military was being released overseas. So I totally agree with that. I also think it's a shame the way this country at times treats our veterans.
They don't.
Okay, I really mean that. But I want to say this, okay? There's good and bad in every life. And let me explain this. We know Roy DeMeo, everybody talks about Roy, everything. Roy would have been a serial killer whether he was in the mob or not. That's just who he was. Nicky Scarfa, I happen to like Nicky. He and I had an arrangement together. However, I understand Nicky, and Nicky would have been Nicky even if he wasn't part of that life. I don't want you to think that that life makes people what they are. You are who you are. You enter that life. You're not going to change who you are. You didn't all of a sudden. You're not all of a sudden a schoolboy, then you become a killer. You are who you are. So I want you to understand that. But I totally agree. You don't idolize people in that life, nor do you glorify that life for the reasons that I spoke about tonight. But I get it. I'm sorry for your friend. I really am. Because
well, I'm glad you became a born-again Christian, and then you're a good guy.
Well,
the past is the past. We all have our demons. Trust me, I have my demons. Believe me. But God bless you.
Thank you. It's going well.
Good luck with it.
FranzeseWine.com. You go to it online right now. You know, you see. But you can wait till we get to it too. Yeah, very happy about it.
Thank you.
Just got me in trouble actually. Because USA Today wrote a big story, it just came out last week. Franzese has a $1 billion wine company. It's not a $1 billion wine company. I don't know why they keep throwing these billions next to my name. It's not $1 billion, but hopefully it will be one day, but not today.
Long time, Mike.
Okay.
Vinny. Rotondo.
Hey, let me at least shake your hand. His dad was a very, we were on trial together, and his dad was a prince of a guy. We spent several months on trial together. We sat next to each other, and quite honestly, we laughed the whole way through. Unfortunately, we got a not guilty verdict. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been laughing in the end, right? Anyway, all right, brother. Thank you.
Hello, Michael. My name is Jason.
Yes.
My question is about Greg Scarpa, arguably one of the most dangerous mob bosses in the entire mafia. But my question is about his social club. What was with the name of his social club? I can't figure this out.
Listen, Greg, I'll tell you this, when we heard, I was around Greg a lot, obviously, and same family, same crew. When we heard that he was, basically an informant for 20 years, a lot of guys got pretty nervous, including myself. But he never did anything to hurt me in any way, shape, or form, nor did his son. He was just a rough guy, what could I say? He was one of those guys that he was who he was. You know the story with him, I think.
I know a lot, but the Wimpy Boys? How did he name
I don't
his...
know how he got that name. I never asked him. We laughed about it at times, but I never asked him how it came about. But he was no wimp, I'll tell you that. So I don't know who he was referring to at the time. But look, I think everybody, many people know the Scarpa story, but it was very unfortunate. And what happened with him was he died of AIDS, basically from a blood transfusion. Terrible. Anyway,
Thank you.
thank you.
Good evening, Michael.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I think it's the biggest cover-up in the history of planet Earth. Do you have anything to comment about reading minds?
Reading minds?
Yes.
I can't read minds, so I don't know anything about that, I'm quite honest.
It's called remote neural monitoring. It's on YouTube, just like you're on YouTube. I watch you all the time. It's called, his name is Kevin Christian. He explains how it operates. You get the coordinates where you're standing right now, hooked up to a satellite, and then you go on a computer, you can read your mind.
I'll pass on that. I don't want anybody reading minds. Thank you.
Mr. Franzese, Jason McCarthy again.
Yes, sir.
Tom Lavecchia's friend.
Yes, sir.
So, now that you've been in the, Wall Street, Main Street life, doing business, in the underworld, two-part question. What was the most lucrative in the underworld for your crew? Was it the loan shark, the bookmaking? Was it the car dealerships you had? What was the most lucrative for you then? And I guess the second part of that question, when you got clean, now, and I read your book, so I kind of know the answer, but I guess it's for the audience. You take those lessons in the underworld, doing business now. What lessons have you taken to move on into this and doing business with the slices and the wine and stuff like that? But before that question, what was the most lucrative business back then?
Well, for me, it was the gas business. I mean, there'll never be another earn like that, and I can't see it. And let me tell you, my partner became an informant, and he blew the whistle on everything. Had he not, I don't think they would have ever caught up with us. They could not figure it out. They couldn't. As a matter of fact, I had a Mazda dealership. I'm there, two agents come to me, Franzese, we got to talk to you. I go outside. They tell me like this, listen, we were about 5 years into the gas thing. They said, we know what you're doing, but we can't figure it out. just tell us and we'll give you a pass. Yeah, right. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, you want to buy a car? I'll give you a nice car. I went to them, you're not going to tell us? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, what do you mean? They got so upset with me. They were cursing me out, 2 agents. And I started laughing. I said, guys, any way I can help you, except for some business I don't know anything about, I'll be happy to help you. They couldn't figure it out. And I want to tell you something. I want to see if this sounds familiar. It's an answer to your question. I had 18 shell companies. Shell companies. For those of you that pay attention to the news, 18 shell companies. No brick and mortar, no employees, and we had nothing to sell. All we needed, the company, was to open a bank account so that we collect money. What money were we collecting? Tax money that we were stealing from the government. Now, somebody came to me. I was on, what's his name, Glenn Beck, a couple of the Fox shows, and I said, listen, I said, nobody's pulling the wool over my eyes. I said, I got indicted for racketeering for the exact same thing. I said, our president and his son have 20 shell companies, no brick and mortar, no employees, no product, and no service. Why doesn't somebody just ask, what were you selling?
Right, exactly.
What were you selling? You know, the Republicans start to ask and then they back down. What were you selling? Suspicious bank records. I had the same thing. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I can't say if he's innocent or guilty, but I guarantee between that, the text messages, the emails, the meetings, okay, the witnesses, that is 1,000% a racketeering indictment. 100%. Indictment. I won't say he's innocent or guilty. But if that were you or anybody in this audience or me, we would have been locked up a long time ago, just based upon what's out there at this point in time. And listen, people, you know, the only way I say it, look, you know, Michael, you're a Trump supporter. I said, look, I thought he was a good president. I thought his policies were good for America. I'm not going to ask him to, you know, I said, I'm not going to ask him to date my daughter. I don't have to go out to dinner with him. We don't have to be the best of friends. But his policies for America at that time were good. Just compare it to now. I mean, come on, it's common sense. You know, you want somebody in office that's going to be good for the country. That's it. I'm going to be honest with you. People might give it. I don't know if he's the best option right now. He's got a lot of baggage. You don't want to see somebody coming in and just, it's a revenge 4 years for him. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not saying that, so I haven't, you know. But listen, anybody know who Anthony Scaramucci is? I interviewed him yesterday. He'll be on YouTube next week. But he had some interesting things to say. Tune in about Trump and Biden and everything else. Good perspective, very smart guy. But anyway, watch this closely, because I'll tell you something, people. If we have a guy that committed treason in office, money from China and these different places, we have to be careful, really careful. And I don't know what the second part was.
The second part was, what did you take from the street life in the world into, like right now, you have so many businesses going on. You have book deals, you dealt with publishers, you have slices, you have the wine. What did you bring from that life?
I'm going to tell you this. Forget the stealing taxes. That's different.
No, that's, yeah, no, the sit-downs. There's sit-downs now that
yes. Business is business. Yeah. Whether you're doing it illegally or you're doing it legally. The same principles exist in many, many ways, okay? And you take what you learned on the street and you apply it to, you know, doing things the right way, but business is business. You know, negotiation. You know, people don't realize we negotiate every day of our lives with somebody or something. If you're married, you negotiate with your spouse almost every day, with your kids, you know, the neighbor next door, people you do business with. You know, you got to master the art of negotiation, number one. It's very, very important. You got to know how to read people, very important. People come to me all the time, Michael, I want to open up a restaurant. Okay, well, what's your plan? I'm going to sell good food. Okay, well, I hope so. I'm going to have a good location. Okay, that's well, what's your plan? Do you have a business plan? You know, where do you want to be in 5 years? Show me, lay it out. People just run into things sometimes, they don't even plan it out. I said, it's good, write it down. Make a blueprint for yourself and follow it. Now, there may be times when you deviate, market conditions can dictate that, but people sometimes just don't get it. And listen, I'm not brilliant. I made a lot of mistakes. You know, people that said to me, Michael, you're a brilliant businessman in all that you've done. I am not a brilliant businessman. There's a lot of things that I don't do well and I don't like to do. I don't like to. But I think I had two talents. Number one, I recognized a good opportunity. And number two, I knew how to get the right people, put them in a place to do the right job, and then motivate them and make sure they did the right job. Because listen, you're only as good as the team of people that you have around you and how you motivate them. That's it. Anyway.
Mr. Franzese, thank you so much.
Thank you. And tell Tom, where's Tom? He's still back there? He left.
He went to bathroom break, but you'll see him later.
Yes, good man, okay.
Michael, 2 points first before I ask one question I have. First of all, your father was a great man.
Thank you.
Mike Nona and No were the original owners of the Gloria restaurant on Court Street.
Yeah, fortunately.
Your father was wonderful.
Thank you.
He was a magnificent man,
Appreciate that.
really. And your mother was wonderful too, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm the nephew of Joseph, Nicky, and Blaze Carrazzo.
Okay.
I'm Daniel.
All right, man.
I just came home after doing 34 years.
God bless you, man.
Giuliani screwed me like that. I was down since 1985. 05363, 054 was my Southern District of New York federal number. The marshals also gave me bullpen therapy, diesel therapy, Oklahoma City, El Reno, bing,
Let me ask, worst part of doing federal time is diesel therapy.
absolutely.
I never
They take you away from your family, your loved ones, everything. Forget about it. I did time in Lewisburg, behind the wall, at the age of 22. They turned me into an animal. I went from being like a bunny rabbit into a savage. They did, the government. Giuliani had people testify at my trial. I got a kingpin sentence. For people that don't know, I was a drug dealer. I was convicted of selling 182 kilos of cocaine. I want you to know something, sir. I agree with almost everything that you said. Also, by the way, Skinny Teddy P sends his love to you.
Oh, thank you.
They're a dear friend of mine.
Send it back.
Also, Michael, they're both.
Thank you.
Also, Ali Boy and Snake were wonderful people too.
Yes.
So, okay.
Young Ali is Umbada.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want you to know I had to get parole's approval to come to Atlantic City to see you.
Oh, I can
I'm on lifetime supervision.
Can you be with me?
Yes, yes. My PO was pulling her hair out at first, but I explained to her, that it was a show. So, yeah, we're allowed to stay overnight. I gotta be back by 12 o'clock because they come into the house at 2 o'clock.
Don't be late.
Oh, no, I know. Trust me, I violated parole 2 times.
All right.
I know.
Get a
vote.
Okay, here's what I have to say to you, sir. I went to trial in the Southern District. Judge Anthony J. Sprizzo, courtroom 1580, 500 Pearl. The government had people testify against me that I never seen, knew, or known in my entire life I ever had a conversation with. But they swore they knew me and swore they did business with me. The government is probably the most corrupt people around, and people need to know that. If they want you, they get you one way or the other. Giuliani offered me a deal to testify against the Westies, Jimmy Coonan, Mickey Featherstone, Kevin Kelly, Kenny Shannon, because they were my muscle when I was dealing coke.
I knew Jimmy very well.
Yes. Jimmy, God bless Jimmy, his wife Edna, God bless. I now have a job in the ironworkers in New York, really, because of Jimmy, to be truthfully honest with you, I'm being honest with you. I want to say this much to you. I used to go to Nicaragua to meet Daniel Ortega of the Sandinistas. I used to see Oliver North and Foreign Hall there all the time. The government, if they want to shut down drugs, they can shut down drugs. A minute after you and I step off that stage, drugs could be shut down. But the government is the biggest dealers in the entire world. Amen. That's what I want to say. And you, sir, I have nothing but respect and love for.
Thank you, bro. And same to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Folks, we're going to do one last question, and those of you that have the VIP ticket or the access badges, we're going to ask you to sit tight for a few minutes, let everyone else leave, and then we're going to take you back on the line backstage for the meet and greet. So after this question, just give us about 5 minutes, and then we'll take you back for the meet and greet.
Hey, Mike, Ed Velasquez from South Jersey. I got a couple of questions. Before Atlantic City, had you ever been, before any of these were built here, did you ever come down here before that?
As a kid, but Not for any particular reason.
Right,
you know,
right.
just
So,
a visit.
so when word went out that the casinos were being built out here, what was the talk out there in New York, in the mob, and the bosses' minds and everything?
Well, I remember, you know, they thought that this was going to be, put a real dent in Vegas, and this was going to be the Vegas of the, you know, Northeast. Obviously, that never happened. But saw it as an opportunity.
Right.
You know, look, I had, you know, I had an arrangement with Nicky Starford, and I like Nicky, by the way, but, you know, that was my relationship with him, where I had control of the security guards union, and we were going to unionize all the hotels here. And Nicky and I were working that out before we both had our trouble. It was towards the end. And we started to put that deal together. We were arranging picket lines and you know, whatever. But we saw opportunity here. You know, look, guys on the street love to gamble. Right. Come on, let's be honest. And we saw opportunity here because who built Vegas? You know, after everybody left Cuba and came here, you know, make no mistake about it. I mean, it was us guys that built that. As a matter of fact, everything that we do, the government copies, and they do it later on. I mean, there's no question. You know, I'll never forget when off-track betting came in to New York. Some of the cops got, I remember talking to them, they said, we're going to put you guys out of business. I said, really? Let's wait and see. Because remember, you go to OTB, what do you have to do? You got to put your money down. They don't give you credit. What happens? More people go to OTB and gamble. Okay, when they lose, what happens? They got to go back to the bookmaker because the bookmaker gives credit. So they actually increased our business because people that weren't gambling before started gambling with us. Okay, and then what happened with OTB? They went bankrupt. They don't even know how to run the darn thing. They should have called us who would have handled it. I'm serious, you know, they didn't know how to do it. But anyway, you know, look, it was seen as an opportunity. It never quite developed, I think. I don't think there was, and I might be wrong on this, but just my own, because I don't know everything. I don't know everything that went on. But I don't think we ever really had a stronghold here in Atlanta. No, in a big way, no. I mean, way back in, you know, the 20s and 30s here and all of that, it was a different situation. But after 77, they had pretty good control, the gaming control industry, I mean, the gaming control board here. I don't think we really had a foothold here, ever.
Now, one more question. Growing up, I had, my father used to just tell me stories. He's from East New York, and I used to just love the stories he told. Your father, has he ever been down here prior, when he was young, and tell you any stories of Atlantic City?
No.
No.
My dad never did, no. You know, all the stories are mostly Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You know, places
Right.
like that. Never did. So you know, I can't say I know everything that went on in Atlantic City. I don't. I visited here a couple of times. I was never a gambler myself, so I didn't really go into the casinos for that reason. But you know, I know history. Right. I know guys that were around here, but I didn't get involved much myself.
Now, your meetings with Nicky, were they always in Atlantic City or were they outside? And the reason why I asked that is, there was a restaurant years ago, and it's called Zaber's. And I remember being a kid, and I remember seeing a lot of mobsters in there, in their private room, when my dad used to take us to dinner there, and he used to say, that guy's a mobster. You know?
Yeah, I know the place.
Yeah.
Those would hang out. But no, when I met Nicky here, we met in a house, and a couple of times, and then I met him in Philly a few times. Yeah, and like I said, I got along with him. I know his reputation, but and I don't know if any of you saw, but I said a little something about Joey Molino. Was down in Florida, my most recent one, and I think he and I don't know for sure, and not, but we might do something together, just that conversation.
Thank you so much.
Okay. You know what, I got to tell you, thank you. A lot of these guys on YouTube, people, I want to tell you something. You know, a lot of stories go around, there's a lot of guys there. I think you know, those of you that follow me, I don't have a bad mouth to anybody. I had a lot of shots thrown at me from people. You know, YouTube is all about views for some people. If they can use clickbait, poor Sammy, I have to say that. More guys use that guy's name and trash him, and it's just to get views. They're like view hounds or whores, if you want to call them. But I don't get involved in that. A lot of these guys don't know what they're talking about. They weren't even part of the live. They try to do things. Tom LaVecchia, you still here, Tom?
He's probably on his backstage.
Okay. Well, he's a guy, he's credible, and when he tells you something, you can kind of listen to it. But there's a lot of guys there that, you know, just take things with a grain of salt. That's all I'll say.
Folks, thank you so much. I know we didn't get questions answered. go to Michael's website, okay? And those binge watchers, go to his YouTube channel and watch 400 shows.
Yeah, one last thing I wanted to say. I'll make a slight introduction here. Mike Tyson and I have gotten together. I know Mike quite a while, yes. And we have put a platform together called Champions Corner. And basically, it's a platform, the theme of it is turning your adversity into an advantage. Mike really wants to leave a legacy. He's been doing a lot of good things. Mike is, by the way, very smart, the nuggets of wisdom that come out of him. And he's very sincere about wanting to help people. We're launching this platform next week. And actually, Mike, myself, and Chaz Palminteri will be doing shows together. The first one is on January 25th at the Beacon Theater in New York. So keep that in mind. It's going to be interesting. Mike has a trip. We're going to have a good time. And I'm excited about this platform. He and I kind of want to leave a legacy where we help a lot of young people. Personal development. We also have a lot of people jumping on board. Jordan Peterson, people like that. That want to give their expertise. We've got a lot of business people coming on. I think it's going to be good. So watch for it. Champions Corner. You'll probably start to hear about it next week. God bless everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. So those of you with the VIP tickets, whether it be a paper ticket or on your phone, just sit tight for a couple of minutes. Everyone else, thank you. And if you have an access badge, we'll get...
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and check out more of our content. Feel free to give your feedback and suggestions on what we should do next in the comments. This is Infinite Lee Productions. We love ya.